So let's get straight into it. Topic of the moment, AI. How are Haleon using AI?
We're experimenting with it. We're not afraid to experiment with it and use it on, curation or discovering of new insights. But we're only scratching the surface, right? Which is super exciting.
How do you see the role of insights changing?
We are the ones that need to change in terms of being those strategies that we are meant to be. It's also important to surround yourself with the best-in-class kind of partners that work in different aspects of how to know the people we serve better.
I love that. It's the future now. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, this is fresh news. I got
Welcome to another edition of the Insight250 Spotlight series, where we talk to leaders and innovators from all around the world to understand the stories and the people behind the insights. I'm Crispin Beale, CEO of Insight250, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Litthya today from Haleon, and we're going to talk about some really exciting stuff. Welcome, Litthya.
hello.
So let's get straight into it. Topic of the moment, AI. How are Haleon using AI?
Yeah, well, it's a new toy, right, for everybody. So we're super excited. Actually, it's not a new toy. It really is the future, and the future's here. We're experimenting with it. We're not afraid to experiment with it and use it on, curation or discovering of new insights or correcting of tools that we are using. But we're only scratching the surface, right? Which is super exciting, and I'm excited to be part of the group of people that are kind of pioneering this, and even as small as using Copilot for certain things, to do emails or to draft a questionnaire, or it's really exciting the amount of things that we can do with it. As every little tool or new technology, it could be phenomenal for your business or for you as a person, or it could also be a deterrent, right, for your growth. So we're trying to manage that and use all the power that it has to make us better as professionals, you know?
Yeah, that's so important. Well, it's fascinating to hear that it's being used so extensively at Haleon already, and I love that. It's the future now. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yesterday, this is fresh news. I got from one of my partners, my research partners, I got a point of view on a typing tool. I mean, researchers will be excited about this. If people listening are not researchers, will be like, so big deal. But for me, the fact that, the AI kind of review of my typing tool told me what questions had more discrimination versus others that I could improve. Like that that blew my mind. That really blew my mind. So we're using AI to become smarter as researchers. So I love that.
Yeah, that's so important to use these tools to become smarter, so we work smarter rather than harder. So great to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Want to find your top customer metrics in seconds? With MTab Halo, ranking survey data is effortless. Just select your metrics, choose your ranking criteria, and click Apply. Instantly, your top 10 metrics are revealed. Whether you're ranking customer satisfaction, purchase intent, or brand loyalty, MTab Halo makes it fast, accurate, and easy to understand. Get all your insights in one place with MTab.
But I'm sure what viewers want to know as well is, how did you get into insights?
Oh, it's funny, when I was in college, or when I was thinking about what to do for college. Uh, s- Sidebar here: my 17-year-old wants to do musical theater, and she knew this since she was 10 years old. That's not my story. Okay, that is not my story. I was like, what do I do? I want to be a pop singer. But as I'm thinking about what to do for college, I'm like, well, advertising is an area that I would like to explore. I get to college, and I had this phenomenal research teacher or professor at back in Venezuela, and I really fell in love with the discipline. And I didn't know I was going to end up working in insights, but I'm glad I did, because being the voice for those that can't be heard in the meeting, that can't sit with you at the meeting, is great. It's one of the things that I'm most passionate about in my career. So yeah, that's how I got into insights. It was college. It was a professor that made a difference.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, so many people do fall into insights as they go through their careers, rather than as you were saying, have believed that they wanted to do that since they're 10 years old. But I think that's
Yeah.
good. That it gives people with such varied backgrounds in there, and it is a changing industry. And how do you see the role of insights changing?
Great question. And I love that question when we were working on the article, because it really, I feel like we are the ones that need to change in terms of being those strategists that we are meant to be, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we get too caught up in these are the questions that we need to answer. And, do people like this cup or not? Is it, do you like the color? Let's take a step back. Let's understand the people we serve as human beings. What makes you tick? Because I have found in the different industries that I have had the blessing of working for, that if you know your consumer as an individual, as a person, as a human, what they are as people will translate into their choices for different brands and different categories and how they shop. For the most part, yes, there are circumstantial things that happen, but if we know them as people, we will understand why they do what they do. And we will also save ourselves and our teams a lot of money, because then you won't need to ask all these kind of pointed questions if you that you already have answers for, if you know this person as a friend. So I think as insight strategists, we can drive that conversation with the people we serve. We can also be a seat at the table, being that advocate and also helping our team drive that strategy. So I think that's where the future is, and more of us should, walk toward that objective.
Yeah, I think that's so true, so true. As we see more advancements in synthetic data and artificial intelligence, we mustn't forget the human intelligence as well. So I think you're
A hundred
so
percent.
right to raise that. So important.
Yeah, and one thing that now that you're saying technology and things like that, I think technology has a huge role in
Yeah.
what we do and we will continue to do. So the future for me looks bright in the sense of, as we were saying at the beginning, we're working smarter, we're spending less time building questionnaires, or even we used some experiment to create synthetic personas to, based on a profile that we had. And that wasn't the end, that was the inspiration. But that inspiration was shorter to get there versus 10 years ago, right? Because we had the AI starting point and we built on that. So I think it's using that technology smartly to drive strategy. And then as we continue to know the people we serve as people, so it's that combination of the human, the real human, the flesh and blood human, and the translation of how that human behaves, leveraging the tools that we have available and that we'll continue to have available. I can't wait to see what's next, what we will continue to develop that will help us grow.
Yeah, that's true. Our industry is evolving so quickly. Well, I call it industry. We should call it profession, really. I think we really are professionals helping there to drive things forward. And so it's exciting to see what's next. And talking about what's next, I mean, you're obviously one of our leaders and innovators, a winner of the Insight 250 Awards. So congratulations on that again.
Thank
But,
you.
but what's your top tip to other people as to how they can be leaders and innovators in our profession?
By the way, that was a huge honor. I did not know that was happening, and then I get the nomination. I was like, but in real life, I didn't practice his face because it was a real surprise. So I'm really thankful for that. So yeah, it's number one. It's humbling to be, to be the recipient of that award. I'm really thankful. I think it's all about creating those connections between the day to day, our businesses, our objectives, etc., and the people we serve. Sometimes we lose focus and we are, our task is to develop this product with these features or this claim. Which one of these claims do you like the best? Or asking a questionnaire, 75% of people said they like this product. Like we really, so, or 75% said that they were willing to pay more for this product. So it's having that ability to tease out the kind of reality from kind of building questions and understanding those dynamics as a human being, as a consumer, as a shopper, as a person who has a share of life, if you will, right? Where it's not just by product, is when you're buying food, is when you're buying medicine, is when you're buying clothing, is when you're, dealing with the day to day, and understanding those dynamics is what makes us more rounded as professionals. So I think forcing ourselves, if you will, forcing is not a positive word, but it really is kind of forcing ourselves to get into the trends to see what's happening and ask ourselves the tough questions. Does this trend apply to everybody? Right? So, for example, right now we live in a very divisive society, not only from the point of view of income, but many other points of view. So, when we see a trend, do we say consumers like this, consumers are doing this, or are we thinking, well, are those all consumers, or is there a nuance with the lower versus the higher, with the younger versus the older, with the multicultural versus the white? So there is a lot of nuance to what we do, and peeling that onion, I think, is super important, and not one size doesn't fit all, and being mindful of that in everything we do. And once we have our strategy really well defined, then we can proceed and sure do our claims, do our innovation, do everything. But once it kind of ladders up to that strategy, and having that strategic mindset is critical to succeed in this career. Crispin, as important as you knowing your consumer, knowing your strategy, it's also important to surround yourself with the best in class kind of partners that work in different aspects of how to know the people we serve better. And by partners, I mean our research agencies. Treat them as partners, right? Don't treat them as vendors. Explain to them, why am I trying to do this? What's my end goal? What is my concern when we go into this? What's the strategy behind it? The more information we share, the more quality we will get. And building those partnerships is really critical for one's career. So I encourage everyone to think of your agencies as really those that are holding your hand to get to that goal together. So
Yeah, that is so important. And I'm lucky with one of my other hats on. I know at Behaviourally, some of my team work with Haleon, and they see you as a true partner and are treated as a partner. And that makes it so much easier to work together and generate great insights. So a big thank you with that hat on to you as well. And thank you very much for joining us today.
thanks for your
It is
partnership.
appreciated for you sharing your views. And the full article can be seen on Research World and on the Insight250 website. So a special thank you to our sponsors, SMR and MTAB. That concludes another edition of the Insight250 Spotlight series. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, keep innovating. Thank you very much.